In the near future, ex-Marine John is being taken to a level 6 maximum security penitentiary. When all the new prisoners arrive, a hologram of the warden welcomes them by saying that society has no use for them, so they re-stuck in prison forever. Afterward, John is sent to see the warden, who reads his profile to learn that John killed his commanding officer. He's already escaped from 2 level 5 facilities, and his DNA scans confirm an aversion to authority plus a violent temperament. The warden explains that in this prison John won't have any visitors, phone calls, or letters, and causing any trouble will get him a painful punishment. Moments later, John is beaten up and thrown into a cell, where his cellmate shares some bread he smuggled in. This is heard by the warden when he checks the security cameras. In the evening, John sees a screaming man being taken away, and his cellmate explains he's being taken to Absalom, an island for those who misbehave. The man starts rambling nonsense, so John has to shut him up before the guards hear them. The next morning, John wakes up to discover his cellmate is gone. Suddenly, he's taken to the judgment room, where all the other prisoners watch while the warden says hoarding food is a major infraction that must be punished with 10 lashes. A metal structure turns around to reveal John's cellmate, who is tased once by the warden. John is told to do the other 9, but he refuses, so the warden threatens to shoot the cellmate. Then John grabs the taser as a distraction and runs to take the warden hostage. However, he's surrounded by guards and has no choice but to let them beat him up. A few hours later, a helicopter brings John to Absalom. The guards throw him on the ground without a word before the chopper leaves. Soon John finds himself covered in rats, so he quickly shakes them off before looking around. He appears to be in the middle of a jungle, and various animals can be heard in the distance. John starts to run but stops when he notices people running among the trees. They're a tribe known as the Outsiders, who quickly surround him and knock him down to capture him. Afterward, John is taken to the Outsider settlement, where all the locals come out to try to steal his clothes. They're stopped by the leader Marek and his gun. John spends a couple of hours in a cell before he's sent to see Marek, who gives him a friendly welcome and calls this a vacation. The village is an abandoned island resort in a very bad state, and all these savages are the criminals that prisons have been sending through the years. Since all the activities on the island require physical demands, Marek wants John to prove himself by fighting Ralph above the pool. John gets pushed on a net and given a blade while Ralph shows off by destroying a statue. An unimpressed John just throws the blade and stabs Ralph in the chest, causing him to smash his groin on the platform and fall into the water. Marek is happy by this result, and comes closer to congratulate John, who steals his weapons and pushes him into the water too. Then John makes his way through the crowd by threatening them with a gun and tries shooting, but the gun isn't working. He runs back into the jungle instead, so the Outsiders begin chasing him. After hiding on top of a tree until the crowd is gone, John sticks a spear into a trunk and watches a man trip on it. He surprises him from behind and breaks his neck before stealing his weapons too. When he tries to start running again, he accidentally rolls down a hill and injures his leg. While he wraps it up, an outsider comes out of hiding and begins fighting him. It's easy for John to overpower him and kill him with his own spear. The noise gives away his location, and soon another outsider is chasing after John, who accidentally activates a trap. A swinging log comes down and John dodges it just in time, so the log kills the outsider instead. As John starts moving again, Scab shoots an arrow that stabs his leg, but John continues to run. Eventually, the outsiders corner him on a cliff and shoot him with blowgun darts, causing him to fall into the water. Luckily, John survives the fall and is found by another gang called the Insiders, who take him to their much nicer village. This information immediately reaches the warden back in prison. When John wakes up, he's amazed by the peace and organization of these prisoners. While he explores the village, he tries to enter a mysterious building, but Hawkins and Skull stop him, saying that this building is off limits. Then John is introduced to the leader, who is only known as the Father. He points out John is the first person to escape from the Outsiders, and he'd like him to join the Insiders. But John only wants to leave the island. Next, he meets Dysart, who is trying to repair the broken gun. John offers a few ideas, and they bond over their knowledge of guns. Dysart and Hawkins take John to the village as watchtower and try to convince him not to escape. The island has plenty of natural dangers. Not to mention the Outsiders have 600 people while the Insiders only have 98, so they can fight them. There's also surveillance everywhere, so helicopters can arrive in seconds. Later, John visits the healer Tom, who gives him a salve for his leg wound and reminds him to stay clean to avoid infections because they don't have medicine here. On his way out, John notices he's being followed by Casey, who just wants to meet the first person that escaped Marek. John asks him to leave him alone and goes to the edge of the cliff where he throws a box into the water. The waves are so strong that they immediately break the box, which means he can't just swim out of there. Casey soon joins him and tells him that the water is full of sharks. That night, John notices a procession taking supplies down to the shore and sneaks out to follow them. However, Hawkins catches him red-handed and punches him before reminding him to cooperate. John just punches him back before returning to the village. The next day during breakfast, John asks Casey about his crime. It turns out he helped a mafia boss to kidnap 2 kids, but he never intended to hurt them. It was his boss who killed them. When John sees a chopper fly by, Casey explains that the island gets supply drops twice a month, but the outsiders steal them. And the insiders never get anything. The helicopter lands at a different spot every time, so they can't plan in advance. After breakfast, John and Casey go to see Killian, who is in charge of making alcohol. John takes a sip and almost chokes in disgust, so he insults the beverage, which angers Killian and makes him throw a punch that John easily dodges. At that moment, they hear a bell and all the insiders rush to the gate. One of their guards has fallen asleep for the second time during duty, which is considered endangering their home and their lives. The punishment is banishment, so John watches how the man is kicked out and wanders into the jungle. Meanwhile, the outsiders are fighting over a few roasted rats and Marek has to calm them down. When the crowd asks about the supplies from the helicopter, Marek says he'll hand them over tomorrow if they behave. One of the men is tired of Marek's cruel rules and points out John beat him, so he should be the new leader, causing Marek to furiously decapitate him. Then Marek tells Scab they'll finally attack the outsiders' village. On Christmas Day, the insiders throw a little party and even manage to put up some decorations on a tree. Father gives a speech about all the people they've lost, and John reminds them to pray for the ones they banished too. John plans to leave in the morning, but Father thinks he won't make it far. In the meantime, the outsiders are hiding among the trees outside the village and getting their plan ready. The insiders receive this information from a spy and immediately raise the alarm so everyone gets ready for battle. Casey asks John to fight with him, but John tells him off. However, minutes later, John surprises Casey when he joins the locals on top of the wall. Back in the prison, the warden is warned about the upcoming battle and decides to let them kill each other. There are a few guards on the bridge who are suddenly pulled into the water by hidden outsiders. Then they open fire with flaming arrows, killing a guy through his mouth. Hawkins makes his men duck, so the arrows hit the village buildings and start burning them down. As a few men rush to find water, another soldier tries to remove the arrows from the roofs, only to get shot down too. Then the outsiders tie some trees to the front gate and chop them down, so the fall destroys the gate and a few towers. Now the outsiders can invade the village, and a vicious fight between both armies begins with men dying all over the place. John shows great fighting skill as he continues to bring down enemies without mercy. Casey freezes when an outsider is about to get him, but John saves him by killing the guy with an arrow. Even Father is fighting using his staff, and Skull protects him using his martial arts skills. An enemy still manages to stab Father, so Hawkins removes the dagger and makes Skull take Father to a safe tower. Meanwhile, Marek and Scab are hiding in the water and sneak into the village through the back after killing a guard. They hide in the tower where Skull is taking Father, which is seen by John. He immediately cuts a rope and lets the weight on the other end fall so he can reach the tower in seconds. When Father and Skull go inside, Scab quickly knocks Skull out and captures Father by pressing into his stab wound. Then Marek does some monologuing before getting ready to kill Father. But at that moment, John opens a trapdoor to make him fall into the lower floor while Skull shoots Scab with a flaming arrow. A fight ensues between Marek and John, and it appears their skills are on the same level. Their fight is interrupted by a burning Scab, who Marek pushes out the window and into the water. Afraid for his life now, Marek runs outside and orders his men to retreat, so they run out of the village. Moments later, the insiders burn all the bodies and Father says some words in their honor. John watches the flames from afar, and they trigger a memory of him killing civilians during the war. Killian brings him a drink and shares that Father was convicted for his wife's suspicious overdose, but there was never enough proof, so he's the only innocent person on the island. The next morning, John sees some insiders carrying supplies out of the village, and follows them to the shore, where he's shocked to learn that they've secretly built a boat. He runs back to Father, who confirms they've been making a plan to escape all along. The boat was designed by Dysart, so it has a cooling system that should avoid detection by the radars. Unfortunately, other sensors detect the boat anyway, and the helicopters immediately come out to shoot it down. They try shooting the watching group too, but the insiders hide behind some rocks just in time. Afterward, Father theorizes the warden has a spy among them. John wants to be on the next boat, but Hawkins and Father point out that there are men who have been waiting for years, so John must wait for his turn too. Sometime later, John visits Dysart, who is already building a new boat. John wonders if Dysart will leave on this one, but the man says no. He shares that 30 years ago he made a very powerful bomb for money without even caring for the cause. 50 people died, so Dysart thinks he deserves to be on the island. Then John notices that Dysart has an old Chevy engine, but it's missing the distributor. Afterward, John visits Father with an offer. He'll retrieve the missing engine part from Marek's camp, and in exchange, he and Casey get seats in the next boat. Father agrees as long as Marek promises to tell society about the island so the others can be rescued too. On his way out, John finds Hawkins, who gives him a map with the safest route to Marek's camp. Dysart also gives him a few Molotov bombs. Casey wants to go too, but John pushes him against a tree and describes the dangers until he convinces his friend to stay. Meanwhile, Marek tells his people that he's killed all the gang leaders and drops their heads on the ground, announcing he wants no more petty fighting. A few hours later, John makes it to the outsiders' camp and is shocked to discover Casey has been following him all along. Suddenly, Casey steps on a trap and ends up hanging from a tree. Before John can rescue him, the outsiders rush to capture him and take him to their village. The crowd laughs while Marek teases him and orders his men to tie Casey up with glass shards around his neck. John uses this distraction to sneak inside and quickly kill the guard at the stairs. After finding the missing piece, he uses some rope to climb into a tower and shoots 2 more guards. When he looks out the window, he discovers Casey is being tortured, so he throws a Molotov inside a building that causes a huge explosion. While the crowd rushes to search for the intruder, John rushes to free Casey from the torture device. However, Marek saw through his plan and now blocks him. The duo is thrown into the pool and Marek asks them to fight each other to the death, threatening to kill them both if they don't obey. Casey pretends to attack John only to get close enough to ask him to end this because the insiders need John to escape. Since John refuses to kill his friend, Casey jumps to self-delete on the spear. Afterward, Marek gets a guillotine ready to decapitate John, however he's knocked down by the insider spy. The guy tells John to go back to the insider village and tell Father that Marek has gotten the gangs together for a second attack. The next day, John returns to the village and gives Dysart the distributor, urging him to work quickly. Then he informs the others about the incoming attack while noticing that Father is sick in bed. John doesn't think they have enough weapons or defenses to win the battle, so they should leave the village. Hawkins gets angry because this is their home, but Father agrees with John and orders Hawkins to make preparations to leave. The following morning, while the men begin to evacuate, John finds Father still in bed. It turns out he has a deadly disease that will kill him in a month without proper treatment. Nobody knows about this, although Hawkins suspects. Father wants John to take his place, but John refuses to stay with the village. His goal is still to escape. So instead, Father gives him his journal with all the truth about this place and asks John to find someone that will save the prisoners. Afterward, John checks on Dysart, who has finished the boat. When they test it, the flames cause John to remember his killing again, so he gets upset and walks away. That night, John tells Father how his boss made him kill hundreds of civilians during the war and the government covered it up. Nobody listened to John when he tried to share the truth, so he ended up killing his boss in revenge. In the morning, John finds the head of the insider spy on a spike outside. While the warden watches everything on the cameras, the outsiders come out of hiding and invade the village, only to find it empty. They laugh thinking they've won, but John appears on a tower with a fixed gun and opens fire, creating a huge explosion that kills most enemies. Then the insiders come out too, and now their numbers are bigger, so the outsiders run away in fear. When Father leaves his room to watch the results at the tower, Marek shows up too and quickly kills Skull. Then he starts fighting John, exchanging a few blows before leaving him hanging on the edge. When Marek is about to kill John, Father grabs him from behind and Marek stabs him to kill him. Then John climbs back and punches Marek until he falls off the tower to his death on a spike. Afterward, John notices some fire on the shore. He and Hawkins run to check on Dysart, only to find him dead and the boat on fire. Dysart has a necklace in his hand that the duo immediately recognizes as Tom's, which marks him as the warden's spy. They rush to the healer's hut and discover Tom had a transmitter all along. Apparently, the warden promised him freedom in exchange for his spying service. Tom knows there is a helicopter coming to pick him up, so John forces him to change the landing coordinates. Sometime later, Tom is in the middle of the field as bait. When the helicopter lands, the insiders come out of hiding to kill all the soldiers. John rushes into the chopper to stop the warden from escaping. After giving him a scare, he kicks the warden out and abandons him with Tom. John takes over the pilot seat and flies off with Killian and a few other inmates. In the jungle, Tom and the warden are surrounded by the outsiders.